Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Treen, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to your intuitive week for the week of January 27th, 2025, the final week of the first month of this year. I mean, it did not come in quietly, did it? This month. Wow. There are a lot of memes out there saying how long this year has been already. And yes, for many of us, it has been very overwhelming. It has not been easy. So if that is you, I know for most of the world, but also personally, I hope that you have been able to care for yourself because it's only the first month. We have the whole year, and it does feel like there will be some momentum coming back, more clarity, maybe less overwhelm, but I don't know if this initiation, transition, change energy that I shared for the January energy impressions, I'm not sure if that's really going to go away. So it is deeply important to make sure that you are taking time to connect with yourself, space for yourself, and care. And that is what these energy impressions are for, to remind you of what you need to remember so that you can listen to your own inner guidance and your inner compass, to the language of your intuition, which is unique to all of us. And even though I have been doing this podcast for almost 4 years, and the basis of it is a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition, it feels like now more than ever, we need to be able to hear our intuitive knowing. So I hope that these energy impressions will help you feel grounded in your knowing, to be able to feel clarity on what you know and what you can and want to do and need to do. So let's dive into them. Now, with these energy impressions, if you have not listened before, I offer these energy impressions through what I experience by going into a nice deep meditation with the intention of receiving insight and guidance for what we may need to know about the energy of the week ahead. Now, with everything I share, take what resonates and leave the rest. Use them as a way for you to connect to your intuitive knowing, what you already know. Use them to connect to your intuition so that you can understand and remember and find and discover so that you can move through the week and weeks with more clarity and more guidance and a deeper connection to the language of your intuition. So I'll share what I experienced in the meditation, and then I connect to an animal that I had in the meditation as well, the symbolism that can inspire us for the week. And then we'll end the episode with questions that you can use as journal prompts or in a voice note to yourself. Or maybe you can use the questions as something to focus on and think about as you move through the week. But let's get into it. So the first thing I experienced for this week of January 27th was a rocky shore. The imagery of a rocky shore, waves crashing, but the rocks steady, staying in place as all of the water is moving around it. Now, a rocky shore can really symbolize strength and resilience, a reminder of our strength and resilience. But it also felt like a reminder of what it feels like to walk on a rocky shore, that it can feel a bit unstable. So, not only a symbol of our own resilience and strength, but the strength of reaching out for support, where you don't have to find your way through the rocky shore alone. And it also reminds me of how important it is to ground our energy. And I talk about this so often because it is deeply, deeply important to stay grounded, especially right now. To know what it feels like when our energy is centered and balanced, when we are connected to the physical world. Think of the strong, heavy rocks that are holding their place against the rush of the water and the tides. Think of the water as our emotions and how much we are feeling right now and how much we may be feeling this week. If we can allow our feelings to move by staying grounded, by feeling the energy below our feet, of connecting to the earth, allowing your feelings to move while staying grounded and present and anchored, then we don't get swept away into the ocean. Our emotions are our energy in motion, as it has been said before. So feeling the energy of our emotions, allowing them to move, but staying grounded, that means that once those waves of emotion have crashed, we still remain. So this week, how can you take care of yourself? How can you take care of feeling more grounded and connected and anchored to not be swept away by the waves? And as we move through the last few days of this month, you may experience old wounds and pain resurfacing, bubbling up to the surface. But this is also a reminder that you do have tools to care for yourself. Maybe not every single tool, every single way, but you have learned new ways to care for yourself over the last while, over the last few years. And it feels like now is the time to remember all the ways that you can stay grounded, all the ways you can care for yourself while you move through those emotions. When we care for ourselves, we can show up for others. It's a deeply important part of staying in the world and not checking out. Because right now we all need to be here. And it does feel like, with that rocky shore imagery, a reminder that our reality has changed. But have you changed? Maybe you're holding on tightly to where you wanted to be, or who you wanted to be, or who you wanted to be with. But now it's time, it feels like it's time to remember who you are now. And whether that has changed, or whether you've changed into who you actually were, who you actually are. And this imagery of the rocky shore, but also feeling a bit unbalanced and being able to reach out for support, connecting to that grounded, anchored strength. It also felt like we need to pay attention to any aches or pains this week that we have that may have no clear reason, no physical reason. These could be linked to your emotional health, your emotional energy, your spiritual energy. So pay attention to if your body is asking for attention. This week, is there an unexplained ache or pain that you can give attention to? And the first way to give attention is by grounding. And it's not the most exciting thing, especially in energy work, but it is the most important. I couldn't do any of my work if I didn't know how to feel grounded. And if you don't know, begin with an easy, quick meditation. There are so many out there. I have one on my feed and on my Insight timer, but there are so many. So find one that works for you. You don't always have to go out into nature. You can connect to your grounded energy exactly where you are because you are of nature. So you're already there. So don't forget to ground this week. And it really felt like a reminder to pay attention to our body, but that we have agency over it. So if your eyes are feeling tired, close them or soften them. If your ears are feeling tired, give them a break. Give them some quiet, some silence. If your mouth is tired, relax. Allow your tongue to relax and feel calm. If all of your senses are tired, tend to them. Tend to your senses. So a big focus this week is paying attention to how you are feeling in all different ways. And not in an overwhelming way of being preoccupied with it, but staying aware and getting grounded. And then in my meditation, the imagery of a flipping coin, heads, tails, back and forth, but in the air, never landing. And the visual of a flipping coin that came into view, this felt like for the week that it may be time for us to choose. But also a reminder that we can choose, that we get to decide. So if there is a decision you have been thinking about, thinking over, some indecision, this week, it may be time. We do have a new moon this week, and that's a beautiful energy to set something new in motion. So supportive. But the way the coin was flipping in the air, back and forth, one side was bright and the other one was bright, but it wasn't landing. This felt like guidance, inspiration of the old saying, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And the only way for something to change is to make a decision, to pick the side that you choose, not a side, heads or tails, your own, yes or no, left or right, up or down. So what can you decide this week? Or what have you already decided? Because this week it feels like it is up to you. It is up to us. So as we move through the last week of the month and into February, how can you trust yourself more to make a decision? And whatever decision you make feels like it will be the right one. The important part is deciding. And then our sacral chakra. Sacral energy centered, the second chakra was highlighted for this week. Now it's about 3 inches lower than your navel. And the energy we hold in our sacral space, our lower belly, through to our lower back, is where we can connect to the power of our emotional depths, our creativity, to feel more comfort in giving and receiving, to allow ourselves to feel supported and be open to being supported, feeling safe. When our sacral energy center, the second chakra, is supported and in harmony with the rest of our energy, that's when we can feel safe in our emotions and expressing our emotions, where we can release shame that is hidden, allow the light to clear it away. Shame only exists in the unspoken shadows. Speaking it releases it. And the energy in our sacral, it's where we can feel secure in sharing our creative spirit, helps us hold healthy boundaries without worry or anxiety, helping our people-pleasing tendencies. And we can connect to those clear intentions that we have and help us experience the pleasure and the joy of being a soul in a body. So I will link my Reiki healing meditation for the sacral energy center in the show notes. And if this is resonating with you, that you need some care for everything I shared, I encourage you to listen to it. There is a system of Reiki healing that allows me to hold the energy in the recording for you to receive. And if color helps you connect, orange represents this energy center. So maybe connect with some orange, some bright, creative color energy around you. That may really help as well. And since our sacral energy is also linked to our ancestral lineage, this may also bring you into connecting with maybe anything you are carrying from your maternal side or your paternal side that is not yours to carry. As an example, maybe the feeling of not being able to receive, not being able to receive support, that it feels uncomfortable and hard. But that may not be your responsibility or burden to carry. And by you opening up and reaching out for support from that rocky shore that we may be moving through, that helps you break the cycle of anyone in your family that held that. Maybe it's also a fear of being seen or heard. Maybe in your family, it felt like you needed to keep yourself safe by hiding who you are. Your unique light, dim to fit in, as people have said. I know that was a big part of my own healing of my maternal line. I had to move through that deep fear and realize that it was not mine to carry and that I am safe. And that by having the courage, more courage than fear, to be seen, which I even experienced with putting out this podcast 4 years ago. Every episode, my intuition was louder, so I listened to it, but my fear was there. It was palpable. My stomach would be in knots when I published an episode. My heart would race. I would get sweaty. It was fear. It was awful. But I don't get that anymore because I've moved through it and released it, not allowed it to hold me back as it did through the generations. That ancestral healing, you can do it for your family through your own actions in your lifetime. So this week, connect to your sacral energy. Connect to what is yours and what is not. But our creative expression, our creative spirit, that's also where our intuition is held. So if you have been feeling called to create something, start this week. Why not? It may be exactly what you need. And it may be exactly what all of us need from you. So don't forget to share it. This is a beautiful week to reconnect to what you are meant to express through your natural creativity. What can you begin? Maybe that's part of the decision you need to make. Just begin. And then the animal that came through. So the animal in my meditation for this week is the dragonfly. Beautiful dragonfly energy. The symbolism is so lovely. And the colors that came through in my meditation were bright and beautiful. Golds and oranges and blues and greens. Now, the dragonfly represents the energy of change and transformation, the power of light, honesty, emotional depths, creative expression, and ancestral wisdom. And I wanted to share a little bit from Animal Speak by Ted Andrews, more on the dragonfly symbolism. So allow this to inspire you, which means connect with what resonates and leave the rest. So the dragonfly reflect and work with the sun and light. The light changes throughout the day. The dragonfly undergo their own transformations each day. If they have shown up, look for change to occur. Are you resisting change when you shouldn't? Dragonflies remind us that we are light and can reflect the light in powerful ways if we choose to do so. Let there be light is the divine prompting to use the creative imagination as a force within your life. This is part of what Dragonfly teaches us. Life is never quite the way it appears, but it is always filled with light and color. Dragonfly can help you to see through your illusions and allow your own light to shine forth. Dragonfly brings the brightness of transformation and the wonder of colorful new vision. It may be helpful to close your eyes and picture in your mind's eye a dragonfly. And as you are looking at it in your mind's eye, try to detail every aspect in your mind's eye of a dragonfly. What does your dragonfly look like? What colors come? And see how it makes you feel. This is a great way to connect with this energy and allow it to guide you. Allow your intuition to speak through this dragonfly energy. It will carry us through to this new month coming up. But I do love the message of remembering the light, and that light can change throughout the day, and that life is never quite the way it appears, but it is always filled with light. And that's the beauty of a new moon, too, with the symbolism that I really love, is that the moon phase, so the new moon is promise, new beginnings, ready to grow, to be filled with light again. So, a great metaphor and a reminder for all of us, especially this year. All right, so let's connect to some questions, some intuitive soul questions, journal prompts, or just something to think about, ponder on, answer in a voice note. If you haven't tried that, giving voice notes to yourself, they are really helpful. All right, so the first question for this week could be, what decision in your life have you been putting off or ignoring, and why? And then another question to answer or use as a journal prompt. Detail or write down a feeling that you automatically try to fix or change. And why? Detail as much as you can. And then a third question or journal prompt could be for this week. If life is never quite the way it appears, describe where in your life is this true? Where in your life is it different than it appears? And what does that tell you? And finally, what have you inherited from your family line that is not yours to carry anymore? What cycle needs to be broken? How can you live differently? Choose differently. And you can think of your mother or father or grandmother or grandfather or great-grandfather or great-grandmother, aunts, uncles. Just allow yourself and your intuition to guide you. And really feel into how this is not yours and how you can do it differently. This is a beautiful time for that. And if you need any help with it, I do have the Journey to Meet Your Ancestors, the guided meditation. And that may be something that really supports you. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. I would love to hear if you resonated with the energy that I shared and that I'm feeling that we're moving through for this week. And if you have any thoughts or questions too, please do not hesitate to send me a message through my website, treenlight.com, or through my Instagram at treenlight.healing. If you're curious about working with me, please go to the show notes and you will see a link there that allows you to explore all the ways that I can support you. It is hugely, hugely appreciated if you subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts. And if you feel called to offer a bit more support, please share this episode with a friend or leave a review. It really helps other people find this podcast. So thank you so much again. Be kind to yourself, and I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful.